Hey, gang. Welcome to the Geekscape Book Club. Yeah. Trying to fun, laid back, casual, sit backwards in a chair at the front of the classroom approach. I'll put on a backwards ball cap. We'll rap. We'll have fun. We'll be friends. And with us, of course, is Teach himself, Eric Conner. Thank you for being here.
Wakanda forever. What's up, y'all?
As always, I am Christian Bladt, and with us this month for the Geekscape Book Club is our friend David Brody. Hello, sir. Thank you for being here.
They let me back in.
Daniel Drew, I haven't read this since it came out, so I'll be remembering as y'all chat. But I love Riri, and I remember enjoying this run and her Mark III suit, which she currently still has. We will talk about the suit. I think I like that. And we are talking about Ironheart, the 2018 into 2019 series, all 12 issues. And as Daniel points out, this run was after she'd been the lead of the Iron Man title for a while Tony was dead, which is, it's a very Marvel thing to say. Like, yes, Wilder's character was dead, but then, of course, they were no longer dead. And this is not to be confused with Tony being undead, as with Marvel Zombies, which will be our selection for the month of October, by the way. We'll talk about that stuff at the end. And in any case, I'm excited to talk about this book because we were obviously inspired by the Disney Plus Ironheart series, which we did cover here on Geekscape as part of Marvel Movie Talk. And I had heard the name Ironheart. I knew I had seen some imagery. I knew that her civilian name was Riri Williams. And until I saw Wakanda Forever, the film, I really didn't know that much about her. So I enjoyed diving into this. Eric Conner, sort of first overall impressions for spending some time with a calendar year's worth of Riri Williams Ironheart.
I feel like if you want to find a reason to keep reading Riri, this is the Riri reason. It is a really good sort of overview of who she is, what she's up to. Much more understandable as a character than in the show. Like, I found like so many of her choices made a lot more sense here. I like the themes of this. I like the artwork, although it did remind me of some of those, like, what are those titles called where it's like the rack up front at the comic book store with the Marvel titles for little kids?
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, they. I think there is a specific imprint. Back in the era when I was reading, there was the Star Comics imprint, which was kind of abandoned, and all those titles just became Marvel titles. But yeah, I know sort of what you mean. There is sort of a very welcoming, inviting for all audiences, a general audience visual of this. I do enjoy the artwork, which is one of the things we'll of course talk about. What did you think about these 12 issues of Ironheart from 2018/2019, Mr. Brody?
Well, here's what I'll say first. If that picture that we're showing now was the cover, I never would have read it, because that is a deformed.
That is the cover.
It's just an awful. It looks like an ant, a flying bug.
Yeah, I think it is actually. Go ahead. How did you describe it, Mr. Brody?
She's like a flying bug. She looks like she's got like bug joints and a long neck with bug ears. It's just a terrible, terrible picture. That
Do you remember? Oh, sorry, Brody.
Kukla, Fran, and Ollie.
Well, no, she reminded me of, if you remember, Cuckoo Man from the short-lived what was that show called, Christian? The one that had Diaper Man, Rope Man.
I know what you're talking about. I just love that Brody assumed you were talking about Kukla, Fran, and Ollie, which, by the way, would have made more sense than Cuckoo Man. So I'm Team Brody on that one.
I'm always on Team Brody.
And by the way, I just want to confirm with all of you that this is the cover to the first issue, and I actually rather like this image. That's why I've used it here. For our audio audience, you can just look up the 2018 Ironheart. I believe this would be Ironheart Volume 1. As we discussed, she had been a prominent character over there in Iron Man, but this was her first solo book. So Did you feel that much of the interior artwork was similarly not up to the David Brody seal of approval?
No, actually, I quite liked the artwork. I found it reminiscent of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man in terms of the brightness
Sure.
and the color and the simplicity. I thought everyone was drawn really well. It lacked a more mature darkness and grittiness to some of the scenes, but overall, I thought the structure of the people, the costumes, the aliens, whatever, the zombies, I thought it was fine. I had no problem with the artwork. I thought the pages were laid out uniquely in terms of where the bubbles were, where the boxes were. No, I enjoyed that. In terms of my overall impression, they definitely based the TV show off of this 12-issue run.
Very much so. I absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
It was interesting to see what they changed, how much they kept, and what things I liked better in this storytelling versus the TV show. And now having a better understanding of Riri Williams in the comics, I maybe have less of an appreciation for the TV show because I don't think they did this character the justice it deserved in the show. I think they did a much better, to Eric's point, we can dive more into it, but a better depiction of her backstory, her angst, her motivations. So I got more out of this learning the character than I did the TV show. So I'm happy that I read it.
Yeah, no, I think that it probably a great place to start because I think that a lot of people checking out our episode will probably be thinking in terms of okay, yeah, I saw the show. Maybe I will try and find out more about this series, And I think that the similarities between the series and the television series and this comic book series, I think are all the things that work the best. The things that they have in common, sort of the backstory where Natalie just kind of shows up. I actually think they did a little bit more of a credible explanation of Natalie on the television show. They tried to spend a little bit more time. So I think I liked that. Her mom is very similar. And that dynamic, I found it to be interesting. But yeah, I think that her supporting cast is more interesting. I think she's able in a comic book to come off more abrasive than Dominic Thorne. The interaction with Shuri was probably some of the best character stuff. The Shuriri, as it was apparently referred to, which I can't say I had thought of. So, but I think Daniel's agreeing with us. So that means we must be on the right path. What did you feel reading this, Brody, that you're like, okay, I thought that there were some things about the series the television series that were good, but what made you from this think, oh, this would have been better?
I'm not sure I understand. You mean
what do you think they did? What do you think they did better in the comic book? Yeah, because you watched the series like I did, having not read this already. So what did you think that? Oh, if I knew this going into the television series, I might have felt differently.
I enjoyed the flashbacks to her as a younger girl going to high school as a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old, like the Doogie Howser thing.
Yeah.
I got more backstory on her father, which he was sort of like written off in the TV show that he was dead. But this was and they never addressed in the TV show that her father is still alive, which in the comics he is. So I found that to be fascinating, a good use of a character. I thought she was more empowered at MIT here. I think they treated her better in the comics. Like, this is your lab and we're going to bring people to see you as a celebrity. And I think she was, I like that I'm Riri Williams. Everybody knew she was Ironheart. Like, the bad guy knew to come to her house. And in the comics, in the TV show, they don't really address that she's known. She just flies around willy-nilly. I like that she had her own armor, as opposed to making armor out of a car in the TV show. Like, there were certain aspects I think she was more established. I loved the fact that they crossed over with the other heroes. That I guess she's in the Champions, in this iteration of the Champions. not
Yes.
the champions I remember, but Ms. Marvel made an appearance in this book, and Miles Morales was in it. Tony Stark showed up. Doctor Strange was terrific. I think making her part of the Marvel universe for me was more enjoyable. I know why the TV show didn't, but I like crossovers. I like seeing, oh, this happened in issue 5 that she's referencing, or, that she's not in a standalone universe. I like that they included other characters. So that much I enjoyed. I guess I understand more why she may have agreed to Mephisto in the TV show.
Yeah.
Because of her backstory here and her father maybe having an evil side, and that evil might run in their family, whatever. So that part, it sort of explained that ending that I had no explanation for. So
right.
That's a positive for the show.
One of the reasons why I realized before I'd even started, and I just kind of glanced at an image that our visual audience is seeing, I kind of saw the 12-issue run, and I saw some of these covers, and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to get Miles Morales, Doctor Strange, they go to Wakanda, and then also when I was reading, if we had done the first arc, really ends at issue 5. And it's like the tip of the iceberg. I really felt like we hadn't done enough with the character. So talking about those 5, I think would have done a disservice. And I agree with you, Brody. I was excited to see like, oh, cool, we're going to see Doctor Strange and Miles Morales, and there's a Wasp in there. I didn't know that Wasp, but
I Googled her.
Yeah, and we did do one of the earliest Ms. Marvel runs, the Kamala Khan, and so it was nice to see her. I would have liked to have seen more team up stuff, which I those are readily available. So what were your thoughts, Eric, as you were reading this compared to the television series? What were some things that jumped out for you?
Well, I like Riri a lot more in this comic, and this is not a commentary on the acting in the show,
Sure.
which is she's very good in it. But I think that notion of what you were saying, Brody, about like the pressure of what it means to be like a celebrity student. She has her own lab. No one else has her own lab, but we see the pressure of like all the sort of random, sponsors kind of coming through and donors. So like she has to always put on this like good face while she's kind of like, well, I got bigger fish to fry than trying to, kiss babies and shake hands. Like I need to go out there and help people. And I thought that pressure was good. I mean, like that was one of my sticking points, I think, for the show was I'm all for a character that's kind of pulled in a couple of different directions. But I found like the Riri of the show, like the fact she was really helping a group that was clearly villains.
Yeah.
That was a hard sell for me. That I didn't quite buy into that. I think I enjoyed the back half of that show much more than the front half on that end, just because she made more sense to me. But here we get it all. I really thought the themes of this, as I mentioned briefly, really rich. So I think that's where it dug in more. The team ups are great, and of course you have the TV budget version of hanging out with Doctor Strange is you hang out with the girl who works at the candy store.
Right.
Right. And so it has the mysticism. The Wakanda team up was great. There was an image and this I don't know, came up recently. Even we had a TV subcommittee meeting in my writing department at school, and we were talking just about representation and reflexivity. There's scenes here that features 4 African American women together, like on like 1 or 2 panels, and realizing like, just how rare that is in comic books. I mean, I'm trying to think of, beyond, of course, like, Black Panther titles I might have read back in the day. That's like, you would never see that. And so this is where I think like a character like Riri is so important, and the storytelling here is great. I thought they used Wakanda really well in a way that like, there's a moment when she's flying and she kind of has a tear coming down her eye. Natalie's like making fun of her, but it was the story of like Muhammad Ali in the Rumble in the Jungle when he's like goes in the front of the airplane and all the pilots are black, And he's like, "What? Wait, what?" um
Yeah.
it had that kind of feel of like, I found that really connectable in a way that I kind of wish Wakanda Forever did that more. Though I did like her in Wakanda Forever, I didn't think it was as smooth a fit as it could have been. And I think what they did here with that crossover really worked. Like, this is not just cameos and fan service. Like, this shows why we like team ups, because, yeah, inevitably they would have to work with each other. It makes sense. And even Riri and Siri at first,
Shariri.
Shuri.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shuri at first.
Shariri.
If you
Shariri,
prefer
yeah.
Ruri.
I like Rory more, actually.
Yeah, actually, I think
I do. They at first are like ready to kill each other, but they very quickly realize, oh, we're actually the exact same.
Right. Exactly.
And they had good chemistry in Wakanda Forever, but here it's deeper. And again, I think would have been a nice template to use for that movie.
Yeah, and look, I think that obviously in the physical comic book world, crossovers are very often stunt casting done to try and increase sales. But this was fairly logical, to bring Shuri in. I mean, T'Challa doesn't even show up. You know what I mean? It's and I think it sort of naturally made sense. And our buddy Daniel Drew pointing out that she joined the Champions when she had her Mark II suit. And he wanted us to know that this Mark III suit debuted in Champions issue 22. And to that I say, oh, you mean this Champions 22? Where Amadeus Cho is Brawn, who is, of course, a character that we remember from Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So fun to see this. That's why I appreciate, obviously we always appreciate having Daniel Drew around, but
what is he, some kind of comic book nerd?
Yes, he's a more current one.
You're shaming our listener.
Yeah. He's there's two people in the chat. He makes up 50%.
I couldn't have added more facetiousness to that if I tried.
No, we do love him. So we appreciate that. And
yeah,
look, what I will say, and a lot of times we save this for the end of the conversation, I would definitely be interested in reading more Riri Williams stories. I would like to read some Champions because I like seeing some of those characters. And I did find sort of the nature of this to be kind of interesting, and Eric, you always share such great images with us when we do, really when we do any show, except for that one time when you took pictures of a dusty iPad. But other than that, the one time, and we'll mention it every time, but every other time you share great images.
You screw one goat.
Talk a little bit about what our visual audience is seeing right now and why it jumped out at you.
Yeah, this is from early in the run of issues. This is when all the sort of big wigs are visiting her lab at MIT. And like basically it's, everyone getting in her business. And you feel like really the pressures of what it would be to be her, to be the sort of celebrity genius who's given the keys to the kingdom, but the keys come with a cost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do like that. It does seem like a far more respectful relationship than the way it was painted with the great Jim Rash on the screen. I do enjoy that. Obviously, he's the quintessential Dean, but I thought that we got to see some kind of interesting characters that I wasn't necessarily familiar with. We get this Clash character who they do a great job bringing us up to speed, talking about who she is. It's nice when you have like an AI in the helmet of your main character. So when you're somebody like me, who's I'm like, I don't know who the hell this is. Oh, okay. Clayton Cole was apparently Clash, and it was kind of interesting because it brought in the 10 rings, which I feel like was not fully explored even in these 12 issues. It's sort of as mentioned. I'm sure that they were building to things. I can't tell a lot of times when I read more recent comic books. My impression reading the early issues is that this was not intended as a 12-issue series. And I think a lot of times they're just like, all right, well, we'll put her around in some other projects and then we'll give her another volume starting with a new number one. And that does seem to be, kind of the way of the world in this day and age. But I did find, some of these characters that were included to be interesting. and Clash, Midnight Sun, who vaguely familiar with from New Warriors. So it was interesting to see some of that. What did you think about some of the obstacles she has to overcome in these 12 issues, Eric?
I think it gave us kind of a nice sort of like, it's almost like a flight of beer, right? It's like a taster of different types of villains. She would kind of good matches for her, even Clash here, who she got to rock the Casbah with, of course. He covers the entire building with like a sonar shield. And what I like there is how she solves it is because she's a genius.
Yeah.
And that's again something else I maybe feel like the show could have done a little bit better with. Is that idea of like, just like Iron Man or Captain America, they so often are using their intelligence to get them out of things, not just the brute strength factor.
I mean, it's the dichotomy of Bruce Banner and the Hulk.
Right.
He's, one of the smartest people on the planet, but, don't make him angry. You won't like him when he's angry, So, I think really this certainly leans into just how smart she is far more often. So I thought that that was good. What did you think about the villains, the adversaries, the obstacles she needs to overcome, Brody? I believe Brody's on mute. Is that
sorry
to be the okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. My phone was vibrating, so I muted the mic and then I undid. For me, it was a nice variety of villains I had never seen before.
Sure.
Midnight's Fire, never heard of him. The was it Clash, whatever his name was. He was interesting.
Yeah, he fought the law and the law won. Yeah, that Clash.
Law won. Should he stay or should he go? I didn't know, but loved him. And he shot the monkey at some point. So I was like, terrific.
And I do believe he was lost in the supermarket, but we should probably move on.
Also, not played by Kevin Clash, which is good because he was.
You mean Elmo? Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I did stop myself from saying that earlier, but that's fine.
So yes, I did enjoy the variety of villains almost as much as I enjoyed the heroes showing up in the comic. That's officially my first Miles Morales comic book. So seeing him, in action was my first, although he didn't really do a lot. Do a lot of Spider-Man-y things, and apparently he can turn invisible. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't remember him turning invisible in the movies, but okay.
I don't think he knows how to do everything in the movies.
He might have in that second one, but please don't quote me.
Yeah,
ever.
Eric Conner says he can get invisible.
I learned the hard way to not quote Eric Conner. And I think just sort of building to the reveal of her father, I think that was all really well done. I definitely
do have an issue. I have an issue with the father.
Tell me.
Christian, do you look like your father?
Kind of, yeah. And my son looks a lot like me, but I know what your point is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Somebody you just met sees a guy in a room of people and says, "Oh my God, I saw a guy who looks just like you. He's got to be your father."
Or the guy's a racist.
She's also
that's
black,
true.
So, it was
I know that's a great point because if like Gilbert Gottfried came in and said, "I saw a guy there. He has to be your father." Really? Does he look like her? Well, and then, we don't have to really go.
Right. So for me, that was the most unbelievable part. If she had seen a picture, if she had shown like my childhood and this is the father I never knew in some backstory that, then you go, "Oh my God." Then you go, "Well, that was awfully coincidence. She showed him the picture." There was no good explanation for this. None.
He has a birthmark shaped like the Liberty Bell. Like they didn't do any of that.
If there was something, nothing. It was just, it made no sense. I saw a guy. He's got to be father. Listen, I looked a little like my father. If my best friend saw a picture of my father, they would be like, "I saw a guy as your father." That's not the way the world works. So I had a problem with that. I thought when you said they did it in a good way, I have to call BS on that because
the storyline sort of working against him is more what I'm saying. But yes, that reveal was certainly. I did give pause, and I thought, oh, okay. So you saw a guy that looks like her, and we've got Demetrius Williams
It's
right
the
here.
eyes.
I guess I
And the,
guess
and the
it's
goatee.
yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, she
And
definitely has that same goatee. You're
the
absolutely
funny
right.
thing is, shortly after that, they say, let's send you back in with a camera wired to her armor.
Yeah.
And this way we can see what you see. All they had to do was do that originally.
Yes.
Have her go in with the camera. Then she sees her father on the camera and goes, oh my God, this is my father. Same plot, except it makes more sense.
Right.
Yeah.
They already explained a way to do it and then didn't do it that way. So that was my one criticism in the whole run, was they had an easy way to explain her seeing her father was on the camera that they tried as the second attempt. I saw a guy look, I mean, he doesn't look anything like Riri Williams.
Well, that's why I've got him up on the screen, because he doesn't. and the character's referred to as Dune, so that made me nervous that he was just going to talk for 90 minutes that we don't need, and I was just like, oh, the rest
And then
of
spit water into people's mouths.
The rest of it's done really well, but
It's all about the spice.
Well, this Spice World, one of the greatest films of the 20th century, is probably what you're referring
Spice up
to.
your life, baby.
Yeah.
Iron
And,
Spice, my favorite.
by the way, not quoting Eric Conner, but I will quote Daniel Drew.
Oh,
Miles does develop the invisibility ability in the second movie. My Miles Morales canon is literally Spidey and his amazing friends. I've seen every episode with my daughter, so I knew that he was invisible.
In Eric's defense, he did not see Spider-Man when he was invisible.
That's true. That is actually,
with these glasses, I can actually.
You got those in the back of the comic book.
Yeah, he signed up for Charles Atlas, and then he got the X-ray specs.
No one's kicking sand in my face anymore.
That's right.
You
give me those sea monkeys.
So yes, Brody, you are shining a light on the flaw of the sort of the, I think this guy's your father. And that's fair, but I did find it interesting for her having to deal with it. And they do a great job in the earlier issues of her, like, well, my stepfather, that was my father, like, I never knew this guy. And I thought that was kind of interesting. And look, this is something that they can do with the on-screen version of the character. I don't know when and where she'll turn up again. I assume in one of the Avengers movies, whether it's Doomsday or Secret Wars or Secret Wars 2 Electric Boogaloo. I don't know any of that. We're all going to find out together. I don't remember all those. Remember we tried to zip through all those like directors' chairs with the cast names. I don't remember if she was one of them. Daniel Drew, I will turn to you. Do you remember it being announced that Dominic Thorne is in the one of these Avengers movies? I guess Doomsday would be the only one that's
or Dominic Swain, maybe from Lolita. I mean, she's older now, so I don't.
Or what about
Dominic Toretto from Fast and the Furious?
What about just Sway? You don't have the answer, Sway. So I mean, look, there's a lot of questions that we can ask here. And
Dominic Barbara.
Yeah. According to the internet, she is in Doomsday.
Great. All right, good. I will be glad to see her in that. Thank you, Brody. You typed that into Daniel Drew, Daniel Drugel, instead of Google. It's far more effective. Breaking news. The actor whose name's hard for me to say, Tenoch Huerta, has been talking about his return as Namor in Avengers Doomsday. I figured we would get more. We'd get more Namor.
Namor.
The bell's too high, and you know what?
Subpar in her comment.
I don't know if you deserve the bell. So, Eric, I do like to cycle through the images because it is an interesting way to help us kind of talk about the stories as a whole. And our visual audience is seeing one here. This is exactly something we already referenced. The nice flashbacks. Brody mentioned this too, to when she's younger. We see her with her stepfather. We see her working at the garage. There are some great things that were incorporated into the show. And I think I like that backstory. I do agree with Brody. I like how she's got the suit here instead of, having to figure out how to make it out of spare parts, basically. Go
when
ahead,
this
Eric.
image here of her as a little girl wearing like a welder's mask with the glove holding it up like Iron Man,
Yeah.
I just have to say I found this adorable. And that notion too of like, so her stepdad ran a garage, more of kind of blue collar approach, and so then her version of that, the notion that even of her becoming Ironheart is really like a tale of a few fathers. So her stepdad with his sort of mechanical know-how, but then Tony Stark with his technical know-how. And so these images here I think were good, and definitely you could see the fingerprints of this all over the TV show. Even the location of the garage was pretty significant. They went to there quite a bit in that show. So I thought the way they wove the stepdad in this, I thought was really effective. I agree. Right. That notion of I recognize the dad, and I kind of did look like my dad to the point where sometimes people would recognize me or him, but it was when they knew one of us well. It's right.
Yeah,
it's
not
like
someone who just met you on the
yeah,
street.
Right.
And half the time she met her, she was in a costume. She had the armor on.
It's fair.
I could tell by the way you breathe. He breathes the same way.
By that definition, Tony Stark and War Machine look pretty much exactly the same because they both worn the armor. There was important character stuff, but it actually informs a story point that was included. The shout out to Star Trek, and the reason I'm bringing this up is one, live long and prosper, but two is there is the issue where they're all sitting around and planning out what they're going to do when they're in Wakanda, when there's the three of them. Eclipse is the other character, I think. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, that's a very Star Trek thing where you have to sit around and explain it before you do it. But that was just the nature of microscopic TV budgets where you get like about 20 seconds of action and effects, but you got to talk about it for a long time.
Right.
But I do believe that the appreciation for Star Trek did cross over into the TV version, which I have to say I always appreciated because, Disney could always be like, yeah, but we own Star Wars, But this is how they just want to make sure we know she's a real nerd. It's like everybody likes Star Wars, but you can sit through Star Trek. And shout out to Captain Benjamin Sisko and Deep Space Nine. There are no lies. There's no lies when they're talking about Star Trek in here. How'd you feel about the Trek shout outs, Brody?
Oh, I enjoyed them. I also I enjoyed that they shortened their phone conversation to like bullet points of nerddom. There was like a video game reference and Star Trek, and they went down the list of like all the dorky things they both liked. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, you talked about how when she got to Wakanda, she was like amazed by the buildings and what a different world it is. And I love that when her friend calls her on the phone, or I don't remember how they communicated, right? When he says, "What's the food like?"
Yeah,
I like that's a me question. I would want to know how a civilization that's had no interaction with the outside world really, or very little, how they do things.
Yeah,
do they have cheeseburgers?
It's right to bring back a Tupperware, which I thought was great.
Yeah, that was terrific. Yeah.
Is there like a Wakanda burger that like you can only get there, and is it on the secret menu? There's so many questions that I think we would all need to ask.
Yeah, Pizza Hut. Is it a hut? Like help me out here. I gotta know.
Yeah. What did you think about some of this character background, character building stuff, Eric?
They did a nice job of sort of showing the chemistry between them. Because also, too, remember, she was decidedly antisocial at college.
Sure.
But then she's like, got her buds from back home. And, it was cute how they did it. It's a series of panels. It's, in that sense, a montage. But done in a way that feels very organic. Like you could actually see what makes her an interesting, rounded character, not a flat character. Because they are talking about so many geek things, and it does humanize her a lot that you have these sort of moments that we can really see ourselves in, in terms of if you went to Wakanda, the thing you would most want. Like I'm sitting there thinking, like, what would one of my sons collects snow globes. So I'm thinking like, okay, what would a Wakanda snow globe look like? And would it be like digital, or is it's not even have glass around it? It just magically floats and stays in place using a force field. So, it was really cute and smart, like very efficient. They didn't over or underdo it. Didn't need pages and pages to get us there. But the idea is to like the characters did talk, and when you read it, you felt like they also listened to each other, which I think was good. It was some very good dialogue in all these issues.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And there's fun imagery. She's got the Captain Marvel symbol on as just a casual round the house shirt at one point. I thought that was definitely interesting. I liked seeing that. And there was definitely some, we talked about some of the character stuff, this sort of the friends, and we're not jumping into this having read the Champions, but knowing that she has these close relationships, and this is something she has to deal with in this book, and it's more something that she'll have to deal with in the future on the screen, is what does it mean that he saw something so evil in me? This idea of like, I think you'd really be a good fit for us, so yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed a lot of that. And we did talk about getting to see them in Miles Morales. And this is one of those instances where I'm like, oh man, the adventure they're having on the cover is so much more fun than, just like the cabin in the woods or whatever exactly that was. And we appreciate the One Pun checking in. I don't know entirely what's going on in the show today, but I'll check it out when I get off later. We appreciate that. And so that was Nadia Van Dyne, that's the Wasp that we get. And Daniel's saying he wants Nadia Van Dyne in the MCU. And so...
Did Daniel get hurt at the end of his comment?
You mean the gah? No, I think it's just frustration. She's such a wonderful character.
Okay, I was worried.
I enjoyed her.
Didn't we get the Yellow Jacket's daughter in Quantumania?
Yellow Jacket, as in the guy.
No, not Yellow Jacket. I'm sorry.
So we get Scott
Ant-Man's
Lang's daughter. We got Cassie. Yeah. But that's not the same character.
Yeah,
no. I'm saying I think they've already covered these small insects flying around in the MCU issue thing. Yeah, I don't know if we also get the.
We've had a couple of wasps.
They're so small, we could get dozens.
I know a couple. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Not where you live.
There's only one on the screen right now. But to her background, and this was referenced in there, and I was intrigued by this. She's a former Red Room assassin. And I think when you get into the movies, you've already got Natasha and Yelena with that backstory. I feel like you're not going to be like, oh, you know who else was in the Red Room? I mean, Taskmaster as well.
Yeah, it seems to be like the Red Room thing is like Superman was the only guy who survived Krypton, and then all of a sudden there's 100 people that survived Krypton.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh, how do we explain a kid? Oh, they were in the Red Room. Like, it's too much Red Room. Taskmaster was in the Red Room. Enough with the Red Room.
All right, you've had enough Red Room.
Well, it's like Red Room was on Orbit or something, or Hotwire. Like Red Room was actually just a reasonably priced place to get tortured.
It was the Hotwire. It was the Hotwire hot rate. Yeah, you didn't know.
Winter Soldier was in the Red Room.
You didn't know the name of the hotel until you bought it. It was the hot rate. You shared an image, which I thought was nice, which was Riri visiting her slightly older friend who was a mentor when she was far too young to be in high school. This is kind of nice. She taps on the window and then she just kind of helps herself in with the laser. Yeah. I felt like this was all stuff that we could have used more time with, but over 12 issues, we did get enough,
I didn't quite understand her character. I will say that, how she seemed to be at the epicenter of so much. And so I found myself quoting our old friend Andrew Dice Clay, "Who the F are you?"
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was wondering. I was like, okay, he's going to start with Hickory Dickory Dock.
Hickory Dickory Dock, yeah.
And then I might have to put him in timeout.
I know the audience we got here.
Yeah.
Sorry, it could have said Andrew Silverstein or whatever
Yeah.
his real name is.
Well,
So I'm behind this chick in the bank.
if Husey was here, he would have dice drops that he could have used. So it's probably, as is so often the case, it's probably for the best that
I'm
Husey's
curious
not
as
here.
to Husey would have explained how they spotted her father and knew he was related to Riri.
Yeah, again,
he would have had an interesting
as
take
I
on
was
that.
saying, I think we could be glad that sometimes, as much as we enjoy,
It would have been the
having-
shortest episode ever of the Marvel Book Club.
Yeah.
Geekscape Book
I've got
Club.
something to say. I gotta go.
as much as we enjoy spending time with Adam the H-Man Husey Hughes, who's still coming down from seeing Oasis a couple weekends ago. So, it'll be hard to wrangle him anytime soon. Eric, I want to make sure that we don't leave out any of the things that caught your eye. I will scroll through some of these. And
I did enjoy the orange soda, and then I was trying to remember if I thought it was Slice, but then I think I had that logo wrong. So
that was the Slice logo.
That was Old Slice, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, which
Okay.
That was Home Slice.
Yeah, old Slice is my name on Grindr, but I don't know that we need to really go into that so much. But I did like that they really leaned into the fact that she's from Chicago. So
she
calls it Pop. So then there's the moment where she's like, "Oh, right, soda." I'm sorry, but when you call it pop, you sound stupid.
It makes no sense. It sounds like you're from 1941.
The only thing dumber is when you refer to all soda as Coke.
Right. That's like a Minnesota thing. It's like, oh, can I have a Coke? What kind? Pepsi.
Or a Sprite. Or they'll go orange.
Oh, or Faygo on my way to
Michigan.
On my way to the.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
The gathering of the Juggalos. I need to stock up on Faygo to make sure that I have all.
Hey man, I don't judge. Whatever you're into.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I appreciate.
I might judge on that.
No. We got mad clown love here for the ICP, and I. Oh, this is actually pretty early in the series, this image that you sent, Eric.
Yeah, that one, I'm not sure why I wound up there.
That's all right. We're just kind of looking through some of these things. Oh, yeah, Natalie going to class for her was actually, I think they spent the perfect amount of time on it, half a page. It was just a funny idea. That's like, oh, no, yeah, Natalie's just taking her classes for her.
And the idea of like being in class with a hologram and then having to be cool about it.
Yeah.
And I would like to, with a panel you showed a couple ago, you don't have to go back, but it was just that idea of it's kind of like the reverse Mary Jane, which is I know one of Brody's favorite positions. And thank you. So here when she's flying off and her buddy is just kind of like, let me know if you need any help. And I thought that's just a great turn that she's the one who's always going off and fighting the good fight, and her buddy here is just very average, and that's what makes him kind of special, is that he's
unless you're fighting zombies,
right? Which somehow he's good with a bat. Yeah, but those middle issues, what you were saying before, Christian, it did feel like they kind of veered left and right before they got back on track. So they had a Groundhog Day issue, or a Russian Doll issue. If you've seen that wonderful show, they had the zombie outbreak ish. That seemed to get resolved rather quickly.
Very quickly, but at least it was part of the, they did a good job.
They did explain it ish.
I did enjoy spending the time in Wakanda, Shariri. This was obviously fun to, look, I enjoy some banter, make time for the banter,
Just don't like banter fodder.
Well, look, different strokes for different folks, I guess.
What you talking about, Willis?
Conrad Banter?
Yes. Did it have to be said?
It did.
And I thought that there was actually some good like action sequences in the Wakanda issues. I kind of liked, just Okoye, I believe, was who they sent, and I'm like, oh, there's hundreds of them. Did you want more? Or nah, it's all right. We'll be okay.
It's not like there's an end of the universe problem we're dealing with.
Yeah. How much Dora Milaje do you need? I'll give you one. She's the best one. All right. I mean, cool. Yeah, I'll take the best one. Yeah.
I didn't know comic books had bottle issues.
Oh, they totally do. I mean, that Miles Morales one is a bottle issue.
Yeah.
You know, I mean and a lot of times those are fill-in issues by like different creative teams that are just sitting in a drawer for when it's like, well, okay, we did not get, Dave Cockrum didn't draw 17 pages this month, so we got this story ready to go.
I have a question about the Miles Morales issue. Now that you mention it,
sure, please.
When they're fighting the Gollum thing guy,
okay,
he's scrawny, and Riri's like, "Oh, let me learn your technology," and then he says, "No," and turns into the Hulk. They never explained how he went from a meek scientist to a giant murderous Hulk monster. It seemed like there was more to the story there that they cut out. Did you guys understand that more than I did?
I don't think I understood it more than you did. I just felt like I'm like, oh, maybe I wasn't supposed to understand it. Maybe it was like, and a lot of times something like that makes no sense. There'll be the little note from the editor. If you want to know more about this, go check out, this on sale next month. But there was nothing like that. What did you think about it, Eric? Because I just like kind of moved on.
It was honestly same. It was like that issue was it felt like such a departure. Yeah. That I feel like I was kind of in a rush to get back to the A story. And even here, like this cover that you're sharing with, which is basically, Spider-Man getting pulled by Riri, like basically spider surfing. That's such a great image. And it wasn't in the story. And it kind of is like, it feels like a little bit of bait and switch. It's like the Madam Web commercials that made it seem like all the spider ladies were going to be hanging out the whole movie.
What made you think that you would see Sydney Sweeney in spandex? Are you talking about that Madam Web commercial?
Well, there was part of me, a specific part of me that was hoping, but alas,
it does have good spandex.
It was definitely your heart. Yes.
Him too.
So which character are we talking about? Daniel Drew wants to know now. So he's the antagonist in this issue 6, right? He's the one who creates the time loop.
Yeah, the gray guy who looked like I called him Gollum because he was gray. That guy.
I thought it was scrawny. I just thought it was because he had the stature of Andy Serkis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the one who was like, "Oh, I was observing you," which is kind of creepy. Like when you showered, what the hell's going on there? Oh, and it just happened that a superhero went to this cabin, and you just happened to be in the lookout fort for the cabin where the superhero goes.
I mean, how much of comic books is happenstance? I'm not going to be too critical on that.
It's all as it should be. Nothing is coincidence.
It's true. Nothing is coincidence. I liked the image of her having to. This is when she's in Boston, right? So she has to take the T back to Harvard, I believe. So they do a good job, and some of this imagery of just like, it's not that easy. Like, oh yeah, I'm super smart and I made this suit. I'm going to go out and be a superhero. It does look like it's hard work, doesn't it, Eric?
Oh yeah. Well, I also love in this image here for our radio audience. It's her in the middle of the
he says that every time.
Yeah. and the only one who notices her is some little kid.
Yeah.
And everyone else is so just like in their own space.
Grandma's knitting. The mom of the baby
on herself.
Is just like, all right. Probably updating her podcast app, looking for new issues of the new episodes of the Brooklyn Boys. Wouldn't you say, Brody?
Oh, what else would you be looking for? We drop a new episode every Wednesday or Thursday, so let's go.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, we got to see all kinds of fun things in here, and look, I enjoyed it. That's the gist of this. I like the character more than from the TV show, which I think is kind of universally what we're all saying here, you know, that this version, and again, the version in the TV show isn't all bad. It's just, it's a little rougher around the edges. Again, Dominic Thorne does a great job of portraying Riri. Some of her decision-making is far more questionable on the TV show. And while we're starting to understand, the Mephisto thing is still That's a very shocking turn of events, the way that ended. But all in all, I enjoyed this, and I would like to read more. I know that they're, I guess that they let us know. I don't know how you gents read this, but what they did let us know that the next thing was something called Incoming. So she's back with the champions, and I'm like, okay, I'm not saying that I'm absolutely going to read this, but I was intrigued and I wanted to see her. This is what I really want to see, because there she is with Nova and Hulkling and Miles Morales and Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, and then I don't know who that is closest to us right there, but it looks like they're all gathered around the TV listening to an address from President Dave Portnoy. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Or that might be Travis Kelce.
One bite. Congress knows the rules.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. But that was so this was a good read, and visual, shout out to Eve Ewing, who is the author of all of these issues. The art is fairly consistent. There's somebody credited named Geoffo and Luciano Vecchio. There's a few different names, but those are the two most consistent ones. And sometimes when we read these things, you see like fill-in artist on an issue, and it throws it off. So I felt like I do appreciate the consistency with these. And of course, if there's something that I say I don't know, our buddy Daniel Drew will point out that is Vision's daughter, which we did that Tom King run of Vision for the show. So shame on me for not knowing. And we're circling back to the character you're talking about, the Tank. Yeah, I think he was just random. For a moment, I thought maybe he was connected with Miles, since at that time, Miles had a lot of villains after him. Yeah, probably,
but why did he Hulk out? Get back to me on that, Daniel.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We'll wait.
I'll wait. You can reach out to David Brody on social media for that. I don't know how all of you read these, these issues and these collections and things, but what I read them on Marvel Unlimited, and it was individual issues. And I guess that this was around the time Stan Lee passed. So they did some of these tributes, and they had these nice Stan Lee's soapbox that were, I loved Stan's soapbox even in the 80s when I read, and you'd see them in back issues. And I'm not going to read this whole thing, but Stan knew what he was talking about. This is in 1968, and it starts off, let's lay it right on the line. Bigotry and racism are among the deadliest social ills plaguing the world today. I don't need to read the rest. It's like, oh my gosh. Thank you, Stan.
Good thing that all ended.
Yeah, we fixed everything.
Really, they should reprint your letters that you wrote, Christian. I think those.
Oh, you mean in Marvel Tales 212 or Solo Avengers 16?
Yeah. The only two tattoos he has are.
People got to dig through old episodes if they want that. We've gone down that road before. And Daniel Drew's like, I assume the name The Tank suggests he can turn really strong. You know what? Sometimes it's that simple. Sometimes the answer is directly in front of us. Before we say goodbye, I will give a semi-programming note, which I'm still officially not supposed to say exactly when it is, but we're a month out now from Los Angeles Comic-Con. And so anyone who is in or may be in Southern California at that time, I do want to let everybody know that we've been lucky enough to do this a couple of times. We'll be doing this show, Geekscape Book Club, live at San Diego Comic-Con on probably Saturday, September 27th. Most likely that's when it's going to be. And, I can't promise when it's going to be, but, maybe around 3:30 p.m., not in the morning. So follow me on social media at Christian DMZ. I'll make sure everybody knows if you are going to be at LA Comic-Con, reach out, let us know. Daniel Drew got to hang out with Katie and I at San Diego Comic-Con. And Katie's not going to be there, so you'll be stuck with me and Eric. But still, could be fun. Yeah,
got to cancel my flight now.
We're going to have, I don't know. Our panel's going to include Geekscape founder and president emeritus of Geekscape, Jonathan London.
I'm back in.
And we have our buddy Jordan Bloom, who people know from Minor Threats and the MODOK TV series, and of course television show Community. And Brody, you're definitely going to be there because scheduled to appear is our friend Gina Polito. Will be.
Wow!
I buried the lead on purpose. So yeah.
You mean I wasn't the lead?
That's what I meant. I buried you. Yeah. So check that out. That will be our installment of this show for the month of September. And what are we doing? Well, we will be talking about, it'll be a semi-tribute to the recently departed Jim Shooter. And we will be talking about one of his greatest accomplishments, Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, the original 12-issue miniseries. Very excited to talk about that and have an excuse to reread all 12 issues. You know, I think that that'll certainly be something that'll be fun and worth doing. And then for those, so that'll be on the audio podcast feed. There will not be a video of that, but I'll make sure to let everybody know in the various ways they keep in touch with us that they'll be able to listen to that. And also when they'll be able to listen to the Weird Al Yankovic panel that I was on. As soon as I know, I'll let you know. So coming back to this show in October, we will be talking about Marvel Zombies. It'll be the very specific Robert Kirkman 5 issues, the original Marvel Zombies run. And I've talked about this many times. I don't like zombies. I don't enjoy zombie stories. But we're going to check out the Marvel Zombies animated series. We'll cover that over on Marvel Movie Talk. So it seems appropriate that we talk about Marvel Zombies. And Daniel has something very cryptic. He says, I have something to say, but I may have to wait till Katie shows up on the show again to say it. All right. Well, say it then. And I've been waiting. Katie's been very busy, so we haven't had her, been able to have her on much. There's a picture of Daniel, Katie, and I that I'm waiting for us to be on that I can show. But Daniel, you've already gotten it, and you've shown it on social media. In any case, so that's the programming notes. And then I'll let everybody know in October, but in November, we'll be doing something off Marvel. We'll be finding the right Peacemaker storyline and tie that into the second season of the show. In any case, I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to discuss and promote where they can be found. Brody, we mentioned it earlier, but I think people can't be told enough times where you can be found.
Find me on social media at David Brody on most platforms, or just search David Brody in case that's not my handle. You can find me on the Brooklyn Boys podcast, and on Instagram and TikTok, you will now see video clips of the Brooklyn Boys podcast, which we started doing 2 weeks ago, which I think you will enjoy. So Brooklyn Boys podcast, new episodes every week.
Eric Conner, where can you be found?
Well, now that I can see video of the Brooklyn Boys, I don't need to go anywhere. Everything I need is right in front of me. And
lotion and Kleenex.
Oh, I don't only need one of the two.
All right, so
I'll tell you which later. I am Burbank Film Festival is going to be coming up in a few weeks, so I'm working on a bunch of things for that. BurbankFilmFest.org, or you can find me at Count Eric Conner, EricConner over at Insta and on the X.
And we know that Daniel's excited. That first run of Marvel Zombies is such a fun series. It does kind of look like it's fun. They re-released that first issue for the 20th anniversary. He corrected a typo. 20th anniversary in 3D with the glasses. That does sound interesting. And X-Men superfan Emma Frost, who does tend to like to come in at the end of our streams, but we always like a visit from the White Queen. Ironheart was one of the weirdest Bendis books, but I loved it years later. Yeah, Bendis didn't do the run that we read, so I'd be intrigued by checking that out. But if you want to check anything out, check out my personal podcast, The Blattcast, BLADTCAST. Eric, Connor, and our buddy Liam McEnany recently, the three of us discussed what might very well be the worst movie of any of our lifetimes, the 2025 War of the Worlds with Ice Cube. As I quoted the great Frank Conniff, TV's Frank from Mystery Science Theater 3000, we all owe Madam Web an apology. And I'll even go one further. We owe an apology to Megalopolis, because as bad as it was not War of the Worlds. And you can also find my wares here across Geekscape. And every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, Who Are These Broadcasters on the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel, but it also exists as an audio podcast. And if at any point in your life, if you were ever a fan of the Howard Stern Show, on Tuesday, September 2nd, the next Tuesday after this is airing, we're going to really get under the jeweler's loop and zoom in on his first show back after the summer, because there have been lots of rumors and possibly planted news stories and a lot of manufactured things, which is the way that show works. It's a lot of fake stuff on that show is what I'm trying to say. But join us as we talk about it. We should have a lot of fun with that. In any case, that is a Geekscape Book Club for August 2025. Hope to see as many of you as possible at LA Comic-Con for our September installment. But as I always like to say here, as long as they keep writing them, we'll keep reading them. See you soon, everybody.